How often do you think about the different meanings of the dark side of yourself? And how is it that you perceive that? Do you think it is something that is evil? Do you think it's something that's supposed to be conquered, to be controlled over? Do you think it's something that you try to just keep buried? Is it something that, I don't know, how is it that you treat that part of you that obviously is what makes you uncomfortable every time you think about going back to really understand it? Me personally, I can say, like, I have a very active imagination, and I think I've spoken about it before, but like when it comes to your imagination, how you can creatively view either situations or just logic or your emotions or what you deal with, what you've experienced, it can be used against you. Like, your imagination is essentially a tool that can be either used to create or destroy. And that is your right to having a creativity, that creative power that we have all been given by God. And both those sides have to exist. With every creation, there's a destruction. With every birth, there's a death. I just remember myself, like, growing up and always thinking that I'm fighting something. Like, I would always be like thinking about fighting something in my head that is something that I'm trying to avoid, or I'm trying to just have control over. Like, control, keyword control, right? And I've already kind of written about it in my book that I could actually probably go into right now. Fuck it. But this title of the video being shadow work, we're going to be understanding that the shadow is kind of like negative. The shadow is negative when it's a part of yourself, but it doesn't mean that just because it is negative, it is something that shouldn't exist. Like, it has to exist. Like, what I'm trying to get into is, like, you have to use, or you have to acknowledge, you have to honor it, you have to respect that side of yourself in order to understand the light that you hold within you. Not that what you are constantly searching for, it's already there. For a significant portion of my childhood, up until the end of high school, I've always have been fighting myself. In my mind, every battle I had, I would lose. I lost against myself. I would mainly pursue the control of my mind and emotions, but the thing I was fighting or trying to control was far from reach. And how I would attempt to approach it, I was always met with that side being a dominant force of hostility towards me. The more I looked within, understanding why it was so hostile, I was able to get closer with less resistance. I acknowledged this part of me that was neglected, but was such a dominant force over me in my life, in my views and experiences. With my active imagination, the times I was stuck, I would picture myself in either a cave or a pit. Darkness that surrounds everywhere, but the light that I can only see from a distance. I may walk or climb for as long as possible, but it feels like forever I would be doing this. Feeling like something needs to happen to then force me towards that light. The longer I would view the surrounding of darkness as something to be revealed and not to run away from. That light expanded, helping me see the environment in a light of understanding. Light is within and not separate from your experience with your own darkness. Both sides are necessary. To look within is to understand that what we want from ourselves that may be suppressed is kept away from ourselves to deny our own authenticity. So, basically, with that whole spiel, basically, is that, we deny our true selves, and due to whatever trauma or trauma experiences in life, we further put that in the back burner as if we think that it shouldn't have to show its face. We all at one point, voluntarily avoid progression of our own development, our mental development, not just financially or conditionally, like what we are feeling inside of ourselves to a day-to-day basis. And having that those bottled up emotions, feelings, and things that we haven't dealt with or acknowledged or to respect, it's going to feel like you are suffocating, right? You're suffocating your own thoughts, your own doubts. And this is because you don't feel comfortable, which you never will feel comfortable, going into that darkness of yourself. And, there's a lot of stories, a lot of fantasy is surrounded by that whole kind of idea that the hero would then conquer this darkness to then bring peace and restore balance to everything else in life. And it's not like you're killing the dark side when you're trying to deal with it. It's not like you're destroying it. It's like you have to face it. It's like you're sparring with it. And here's the thing, why I had to put that whole martial arts bit or just me exercising in the beginning is because it is a art form. It is a physical art form, and just art in general, there's always a transcendental nature to it. And it's not just about fighting. It's not just about your physical body. It's like, are you winning the battles inside yourself to believe that you are going to win no matter what? And I guess, within my blood or whatever, people who have fought in many different ways, it's like I'm always manifesting or I'm always creating these things in my head that I have to face, right? And a lot of it is not solved with me fighting it, me having to put an end to it. It's to let go of my idea of what I think it is, to then only truly understand the nature of its existence, and then will I really understand why I was putting those things against me, And It's like I'm not letting it consume me anymore. I'm not getting consumed or swallowed by the dragon, by this dragon of chaos, dragon of darkness. And that it was only me being afraid of what I would become out of that darkness, out of that cave, out of that pit. And I would always think about that pit, especially closer to the end of high school. It's like it represented everything in terms of me being lost within my own mind. And that feeling of being lost in your own head, you don't really understand. Like, you're just clueless. You're clueless of your own self, which is like an awful feeling because you know it's you, but you don't understand why. But yeah, martial arts is a special thing because it's an art form, but it's how can you make survival beautiful? How can you make surviving look good? Essentially, especially when you're shadow boxing, you can think of anybody, whatever your imagination can think of. You can think of whatever your imagination is thinking of, and then you bring it in front of your eyes, and then you're sparring with it. Of course, you're the one creating these moves being thrown at you to avoid, right? But how it was represented to me for a long time is that I was losing these battles. Like I was like, any punch that was thrown, I was missing my opportunity for another strike, or I was missing a way to defend myself, the blocks or the dodges, evasion. And it was hard for me to think of myself winning, to tell you the truth. It was hard for me to think of myself winning. But yeah, don't be afraid of, don't be afraid of it. Don't be afraid of what, of course it's different for a lot of people, so a lot of different things that is suppressed is suppressed for a very good reason, not gonna lie. Like, some people deal with a lot of shit, a lot of fucked up shit. But if it's that crazy bad, like, definitely see people to then help assist your journey, right? You gotta get like a party, like a fantasy game. You got your party. They all have their different roles, But at the end of the day, they're there to help. But you're the one that has to. You're the one that has to take them to the dub. Like, you gotta win this. Like, and they're there for you as much as you are them. So they could be dealing with the similar things, and you're there for them. But nobody can deal with what. Like, it's a choice. You have a choice to acknowledge that darkness. You have a choice to ignore it. You have a choice to never even have to deal with it. So then you're just gonna be living in a fucking lie your whole life. Your perspective is gonna be so false in your own head. It's gonna be so false in your own mind that you're gonna be doing more damage than good, and you won't even realize it. You won't even realize it. Because your perspective and your reality is such a falsehood, not only to yourself, but even the way you speak to your people that actually care about you, that you're not seeing the world in which you should, which is, whatever you want to bring out of yourself. And yeah, I feel like that's what a lot of us are here to do. It's not like you gotta make a certain, like, it's like what you want to bring out is essentially like whatever is the authentic part of you. You're gonna have to go within. You're gonna have to relive some things, or you're just gonna have to understand what these things meant. And it's not gonna make sense because it's not always gonna make sense. It's like everything that has happened, I believe, happens for a reason. But I feel like that reason is just to understand it and let go of it in a healthy way. Of course, like detachment can look very loose. Like some people can be so detached that then they start becoming detached to their own identity. And then there's a healthy detachment where you're like, okay, well, I experienced this, I acknowledge this, I was able to experience these emotions. That's what a lot of people mess up on. It's like you think that these feelings you're supposed to automatically like suppress them or keep them under wraps logically, and you think that is logic. But I feel like true logic is to understand that your emotions mean something to you. That's the reason why you're feeling it. What you feel, I feel like, is where most of the reason comes from. That initial reaction, that gut feeling, your heart dropping, your heart sinking, whatever you feel inside of you, that should be more observed. And then, of course, that distinction between emotions and logic, that the logic part of you is that you experienced it, you felt this, and then you're not just going to act off impulse. You're not just going to be like, you know what, this dude just called me a bitch, so now I gotta say something back. But really, like, it's shit talk. It's trash. It don't mean nothing. But yeah, I think where most of us fail is that we feel like we shouldn't be experiencing our emotions, and we shouldn't give ourselves the time to feel sad, to feel depressed. But depression is a choice. It is 100% a choice. People who say it's not, I feel like, are lying to themselves. Because the longer you are in depression, the more you realize, like, man, it's my responsibility to take myself out of this slump. But it can last. Of course, this is where patience comes from. But patience is difficult when you feel stuck, because you don't know how long you're gonna have to be patient for. And if you're at a point where you feel like you're waiting, then sometimes you shouldn't have to wait. Sometimes you just gotta understand that little by little, you just gotta make those changes. Little by little, you gotta make these improvements. And yeah, that's important. Allow yourself to feel 100%. Make sure that in any part of the day where you feel like you are not busy by external things, give yourself the time. Give yourself the time to be in a kind of like contemplative state, or whether you are meditating, praying, however you communicate with a substantial force, I feel like is important. Especially however you call it, the universe, God, you know. We are put here to experience. I mean, you don't have to see it like, oh yeah, I was put here for a reason, for a purpose, da da da. Experience. Just experience. Understand the experiences that you already have experienced and what those meant to you. And I don't believe when you would say that it just didn't mean anything. I feel like there's so much meaning you can find in everything. To be honest, even at the worst times, it's hard not to. At least for me. But that's where the anger would come from. It would be like I would be upset because I just don't know what is making sense, or I don't know why this had occurred, so I have to make sense of it somehow. But I guess this is how the brain works. You rationalize. You can rationalize your own problems, your own experiences, and what you do with it, I feel like, is the meaning. What you do with it, what you do with what you experience, is just why you probably do the majority of things. You deal with said situation. Damn, now I gotta feel this way. You got out of that feeling, and now you want to make something better of what you had experienced. That is what the shadow is for. It's to help you understand yourself a lot more. It's to help you be true to yourself and what you are experiencing. A lot of things are suppressed in terms of desires or what you want to and how you want to express yourself, and then you feel like you can't. You feel like you can't express who you are because you don't feel like people will accept it. Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? Be who the fuck you are. Don't do no fake shit. This is a social space. This video hopefully or will come across all different kinds of life. And opinions are to be expected. You should not shy away from people's. I mean, people will have their own opinions and criticisms. I feel like criticisms are something that can expand on different perspectives that you've never heard before. People's opinions is just a self thing. Like, people can be like, "Oh, I don't like this. This shit trash." Okay, cool. That's an opinion. A criticism would be like, "Okay, I like this, but I feel like maybe you're leaving out this," or, "Oh, have you heard about this?" "Oh, no, I haven't. I haven't heard about this." Then at that point, you are cooperating in trying to further expand on what you were trying to bring out, I guess. Like, it's like we just do too much in our own heads where we get in the way of ourselves. But the more you look inside yourself, like, and you go past that whole stage of like, man, I thought of X Y and Z in my head, and this was disabling my brain to just feel like I can do this or this. Like, I was always a quitter, bro, to be honest with you. Like, because it's just, I guess, like, I was holding on to the identity that, like, I mean, if I don't try, then it's not like it matters. I basically would already prove to myself, I'll basically already prove to myself, like, yeah, this is what you want. This is what you want. Because you're too afraid of this. This is what you want. Since you don't want to fail, you just want to be a failure. And you're not a failure when you try. I was already accepting what I was afraid of. And I lived that. I lived that reality. Stuck in my own mind. And the darkness was consuming me without me understanding why the hell I was being impacted by it. So much energy towards negativity. Was I not being able to understand the positivity that I wanted to bring out? It's difficult to try and be yourself and try to become something, trying to do something, trying to create something when you don't even know who the fuck you are. You don't even know who you are. Like, that is where being stuck comes from, because now you have no sense of self. Your identity was lost with whatever trauma you had experienced. And that is in the back burner that you gotta go fish out. The light is within you. It's inside of you. It's inside of your whole being. That is what everybody is blessed with. Will you decide to do you want to embody your shadow, or do you want to know, or do you want to realize that you are probably wearing a disguise to protect that light inside you, because you're too afraid that if it's now that you are shining, you are now causing a disturbance. You don't feel like you are necessary. You don't feel like anything. You feel small. So you're always looking for control. You're always looking for something to control. That can also be controlling that identity that you think that you are projecting is the truth. That's fake. That's fuck. But I can understand. You're too afraid to be yourself. You're too afraid that if this part of me is shown, then then other people, or I'll be criticized. Yeah, you will. You will. But that's how you know you're doing it right. You're not always going to be able to be agreeable with people. You're not always going to be when it, at least when it, and what I'm talking about in that feeling is that what you are passionate about, not like just some random people that like, not everybody has to know who you are, I guess, like, but they should know who you are through what you want to show, and not no booth shit. Like, whatever you're passionate on talking about, whatever you're passionate on doing, like, that is supposed to be who you are, and that's the reason why you're doing it, because you feel whole. You feel like this is what you're supposed to do. So, looking for light anywhere else other than inside your heart, that seems like you're gonna be misled. I feel like that's easy. You're gonna be easy to be misled with that light can truly mean, because the truth is yourself. The truth is yourself 100%. The truth is us. The truth is everybody. Is what I'm trying to say. Like, in your own life, yourself. The truth is yourself in your own perspective and how you feel about yourself. But with that being said, everybody is the truth when they are true to themselves. And when you are true to yourself, you can see when people are fake, because you were there. You were there before. You understand. You understand that blanket of insecurity, or that blanket that you try to wear over yourself to protect what you think is going to be agreeable for everybody else. But once you start doing your own thing, people are going to turn their heads. They're going to either be inspired or they're going to feel intimidated. And it's not your responsibility how they feel. Like, as long as you are respectful in who you are. Because when you are true, when you are a respectful person, when you are respectful in your passion, when you are humble, then it's like you only learn about you, your craft, and your relationship with the universe, and where you're getting that creative, imaginative energy from, which it is you and that created you. So I guess in a way you create yourself. What I did today was something that, of course, I would have probably left for tomorrow. But there is no tomorrow. Not every day is promised. You can die tomorrow. So I'm glad I was able to at least record this to then be edited, finalized, whatever the hell I'm going to do with this later. And there will be more. There will be more of things that I will probably say I will leave tomorrow, but I'm not allowing myself to do that anymore. Whatever opportunity I have in a day to do what I want to do, it's going to be done that day, for sure. And I feel like everybody else should feel that way. Stop leaving these things for tomorrow, because tomorrow is not promised. Who knows what tomorrow will look like? You gotta have faith in yourself. You gotta have faith in God. You gotta have faith in the universe today, because you're not having faith if you're not having faith in today if you're leaving it up for tomorrow. Because what even is tomorrow? Tomorrow everything could be pitch black. Tomorrow you won't even. Who knows? You probably won't wake up. I mean, of course, this is an exaggeration, but at least that's how I want to integrate that in my life. I want to be able to just, like, at least read that chapter of that book. Write some things down, like how I'm doing a lot more now. Write some notes down. Do my schoolwork. uh, the reason why I laugh is because people who probably know me personally and watch the video, they're like, "Oh, his relationship with school." Yeah, my head is always in the clouds. But yeah, stay true, stay awesome. I mean, what else can I say? Stay true, stay awesome. There gotta be a third one. I like number 3. Stay true, stay awesome. Stay true, stay awesome, stay powerful. That's a good one. Fourth one, stay beautiful. Always. All right. Peace.